Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. So for today's video, it's going to be another episode of my Vlogmas series here on my channel where I'm posting a new video every other day leading up to Christmas. But for today's video, I'm going to focus on my DIY Christmas cards. So if you are new to my channel, I've been posting lots of Christmas related content as well as some cleaning motivation throughout the month of December. So if you've missed some of those episodes, I'll include a link to the playlist in the description box below for Vlogmas so you can catch yourself up. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. As I said, my name is Sarah and I am a married mom of 3. My kids are 7, 5, and 3. And I typically post twice a week, lots of cleaning, organization, and decluttering motivation, as well as some party prep, some baking, some cooking, and stuff like that. So if you do enjoy this video, as well as the content you see here on my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining my YouTube family. So don't forget that red subscribe button and that notification bell to miss any future videos from me. And if you do enjoy today's video, please give it a thumbs up, as that does help my channel a lot. And I appreciate it so much, and thank you so much for those who've returned as subscribers, and thank you so much for those who decided to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all the support more than you know. And this is actually an idea I got from my parents, because my parents make their cards every single year for birthdays and Christmas. So this was, I kind of took inspiration from them. What you'll need for these obviously your photos, I get these printed at a local store, like London Drugs in Canada, and I get a bunch of them printed. I also actually, the first thing I did before this, I read a list of who I'm sending my Christmas cards to, so I know how many pictures to order. The next thing you'll need is stamps. I usually buy roll stamps from Costco, so then that way I have them and they're ready to go, so I'm not running around to get stamps. So that way I usually do like 10 cards at a time, and then I can get them ready to go, and my Paul just takes them with him to work and pops them in the mail on his way to work, so that makes it really easy. The next thing you need is double-sided tape. So this is just Scotch brand. I got this at Staples. I'm sure you can get this at any stationery store. You just need double-sided tape that's good for photos, because this is what you put on the back of the photos to attach the photos to the actual paper. Then I get a pack of envelopes. These are just generic white envelopes, so I get these from Staples as well, but I'm sure any stationery store would have them as well. And then the last thing I need is cardstock. So this paper is actually like a bit thicker than construction paper. So it's really nice to use. You can still print from your printer with it, and you can get this at Michael's. Now typically Michael's will have their cardstock Christmas type paper on sale in December, so usually that's when I usually stock up for if I need any for this year and for the next year. So I kind of always have some stock going, and I just honestly stick to red and green. I don't go outside the Christmas colors. I stick to that. It's just 8.5 by 11 paper, so nothing too crazy in size. And then the photos are actually 4 by 6 because they work really nicely on the front of the card. So once I have all my supplies, the first thing I want to do is I first need to edit my photos. So I use Photoshop. I pick a photo that we have as a nice family photo. I like to have a Christmas type photo. So recently I actually just set up my tripod and took some family pictures of us, and then took pictures of just the kids. So for this year, I'm using actually a photo of just the kids in front of the tree. So then when I go through and edit, I remove any unwanted objects, like there was a plug with a cord attached to it that I removed from the photo. I added Merry Christmas to it and kind of played around with the font there, and then I added a border that was blurred. So I wanted to make the photo not just a basic photo that I put on the front of the card. And then I also picked the family photo that I want to put in the card, because I'm not using a family photo on the front of the card. And then the other thing I do is, my older two have school photos, my youngest does not, so I have those 2 photos plus a picture of my son that my dad puts onto one 4 by 6, so he blends them together, so then I can just simply print a 4 by 6. So I had all those photos printed once I edited them in Photoshop. The next thing I need to do is come up with what I'm going to say on the card itself. So I honestly just type in Google Christmas cards quotes for cards, and I go through several of them till I find the one that I like that's the best for me. And I sometimes modify it slightly. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through Google and look for some sayings that I find is the best. I don't have a specific site I go to. I honestly just type it into Google and see what I find. So here I just Googled Christmas card quotes for cards. This one's 95 cards, ideas. So again, it gives you a lot of different ones you can kind of work off of. So I kind of just honestly spend time going through finding one that really stands out to me and that sort of thing. Like I kind of like this one that says, "It's the most wonderful time of year. We hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the warmth and magic of the holiday season." That's one that I might see myself using. So you just kind of go through until you find one that works for you. So that's kind of what I do. So once I found the quote I want to use, I stick it in my Word document. I do a test print on a white piece of computer paper to make sure it folds properly and is in the right spot. And then I go ahead and print my cardstock. And while I was waiting for all those to print, I was actually replying to comments on some of my videos that you guys have left for me. So thank you so much for those who take the time to comment. I love to read them and love to reply to them. I'll be home for you. Okay, so I finally got these printed. It took me a bit of time, so this is actually the next day now because I actually ran out of ink in my printer, so I had to get my husband to go to Staples to get more ink because I don't know why I didn't check my ink. So note to you guys, check your ink in your printer to make sure you don't need any when you already are going to the store. So now that I have these printed, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold them all in half. So just essentially I want to fold them all in half because then I work with about 20 of them, so I printed off 20. I like to work in smaller batches. I don't necessarily want to print off all of them at once. And then I kind of typically, like I did 20 green ones. Next time I'll probably do 20 red ones, just because why not mix up the colors? So the saying that I picked for this year's card says, "It's the most wonderful time of year. We hope you have a very Merry Christmas and enjoy the warmth and magic of the holiday season." So along with that, I'll put the people's names in the card, and then I might also write an additional little message personalized to who I'm sending the card to. So I like to kind of personalize it, but I don't want to have it where I have all our names printed out on the card. I just kind of like the personalization of actually writing on it. I can come home to. Yes, I am on my way. We'll put our differences aside and just enjoy this moment. Perfect. So now they're all folded, ready to go. So, the next thing I'm going to do is grab the cover photo. So to give you an idea of what I've done with the photo is here. So I've changed the font and stuff on the photo itself, and then I've added a bit of a blurry border. So that's kind of what I did on the card, just to kind of make it more fun, and so nothing too crazy. And then it's a picture of my 3 kids, which I'm just covering them because I don't like to show them on my channel, but that's what I did with, so it's a picture of the kids in front of the tree, and that's what's going to be our cover for our Christmas card. So now the next thing I'm going to do is get the double-sided tape. Now actually I found this in my cupboard, so I have this double-sided tape, but I also have this one. I think I'm going to use this one because I feel like it's just going to be a little bit easier because it's like a regular roll of tape. And then, so now that I've done this, I got my tape ready, the next thing we're going to do is put the picture on the front of the card. So I know it's pretty obvious, but I always double check that the writing is facing the right way so that I actually put the cover of the card, the photo, on the right side of the card. And you don't need to use a very big piece, but I just put them on the 4 corners, and then I put one in the middle. So it's going to be very sticky to work with because it's double-sided, but this tape is also safe for photos. And then you just do your best to kind of center it on the card. So just like that. And then you have it on the front of the Christmas card. So that's what I'm going to do here for the next 20 of them, and then I'll go over what I do next after that.
The wonders of life got the prettiest side for everyone to enjoy. Standing up.
So now all of the cards have photos on them. So I'm just gonna put them all the right way. So they all have the photos on them, and I think they look great. And then the inside, I made sure they're all the right way. So once that's all done, then the next thing I do is I go through and I sometimes have this written out ahead of time, or I'll sit here and in a notebook, I just write out everyone who I want to give Christmas cards to. If there's anyone out of the country that I want to send a card to, I usually put them at the top because I want to get their cards sent out first. And then I kind of go through and make a list of family members that we want to have cards sent to, and then friends that we want to have cards sent to. So I kind of go through the list every year. I kind of, go through it, dwindle it down, figure out who I still want to send cards to. Sometimes people I don't send cards to anymore, which is fine. But yeah, so I kind of go through it and write out, because I find this way then I have a good idea of how many cards I need to make, so I don't end up making too much and having a bunch of extra. And that's where also I find doing the 10 to 20 at a time is more manageable, because then as I go through them, I get towards the end of my pile, then I'm like, okay, I only need, say, 6 more cards. So that's all I make is 6 more cards. And then, I'm not left with all these other cards, and I just keep this card stock and everything for next year. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and start writing out the inside of my cards.
Lighting a light with you. Choirs will sing and the joy bells will ring. Nobody loves you as much as I do.
And I sign for all of us. I don't have Paul sign all the cards. I find it just easier because I can get it all done. So once that card's written in, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab the envelope. Now what I've done in the past is sometimes I'm going to probably go do this actually in a bit here, but I will print off a bunch of return labels that I've made just in Microsoft Word, nothing fancy. So I'm just going to print off a whole page full of them, and I cut them all out and just tape them on it for the return address, so I don't have to write my own address in a whole bunch of times. So yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do here is I look up their address, which I typically find it's easiest. I keep them I have an iPhone and all Apple products, so I keep all my contacts and everything in there. So next I'm going to address the envelope. And then once I've addressed it, and this one's not going to have a stamp on it because it's one of the ones that are going out of country. So then what I do next is I have 2 piles of photos. I have our family photos, and then I have the photos of the 3 kids, like their school pictures, and my youngest just a picture of him because he doesn't have a school picture yet. So I kind of like to separate these in 2 different piles because then it makes it easier for grabbing them. So I'll grab one of each from the pile, and then I just stick it in the card and then get it in the envelope. And then once that's done, I put it in a pile, and then I mark it off my list. So I just cross it off, and then I know that one's done and I can move on to the next one. But that's going to be it for today's video. I hope today's video gave you an idea of how you can create your own either Christmas or even holiday birthday cards, whatever you want to make of it. So if you did enjoy today's video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this video as well as the other content you see here on my channel, as I said before, I typically post twice a week, lots of cleaning, organization, and decluttering motivation, as well as some baking and some cooking and that kind of content. So if you do enjoy what you see here on my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing. It's free, I promise. So don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos from me. The support means so much to me. I absolutely love creating and love putting out this content for you guys. So it doesn't cost anything. I would love for you to just hit that subscribe button. It would just mean the world to me. And if you've missed some of the other episodes of Vlogmas, I'll include link to that playlist in my description box below so you can catch yourself up. But I'm going to get going because I have a lot more cards to do. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!